Hello all my paint loving friends. In last week's video I added 12 colors to this Roman Szmal palette. I had these original 5, put 12 new ones in there, and it's so exciting. I actually have the remaining 4 holes coming soon. I cannot wait for that. However, when this was just sitting on my desk, because I left it here so we could wait for those new colors, I kind of decided that I didn't really like the case top, cover top, whatever you want to call it. So earlier this last year, I guess sometime in the summer, I don't remember when, but Cora was having a promotion. They do it about once a year, maybe twice a year, but they give away a free product, and I happened to get in there and get my email in there in time to get a free sample of the cold press watercolor ground. So this is something you're supposed to be able to put over any surface basically and paint with watercolors on. So I am going to attempt to decorate this palette cover today with this and the colors inside this beautiful palette. Okay, I'm going to preemptively take out this part that holds all my paint, and I think last time I did this I had to pull that one pan out, which looks like I'll have to do again, so good thing they're on Velcro, right? So this can come out just like that, and I'll put these back. So I can use this over off to the side while this is shut, which is going to be great. So I'll just get another mixing space. Actually, I can use the plastic one that came in here, except that I'll just put a piece of white paper under it, because mixing colors on that, I think it would be hard to tell what colors they are without white underneath. Anyway, take that out preemptively and then pull the tape off. I have never used watercolor ground before, guys, so this should be interesting, but I'm excited to try it. It looks like I have a lot of cat hair on it, so I will probably grab some tape and pull all of that off. I always have tape stuck to my desk on the edges from previous projects, so I can just pull some tape from my desk. Looks like some paint that maybe flaked off of this got on there too. And I think I will use, I don't know what watercolor ground is, so I just interrupted myself there, but I think what I'm going to do is use an acrylic paintbrush to put this on, just to be safe, because I think acrylic's pretty hard on brushes anyway, at least kind of feels like my experience, because it dries so quickly and you got to be careful. So I'm going to use an acrylic brush to put this on there, let it dry, and then we'll paint with it on watercolor, and then I'll have to research how to seal it. I do have a bunch of sealants here in my office. Not really an office, it's an art room. So hopefully something I already have will work. I assume it will, and we're just gonna have fun with it. My original plan had been to sand the palette first, and I totally forgot to do that. I just started putting the watercolor ground on, and I put it on really thick. I thought that's how I wanted it, and it took me a while to remember that you could water this stuff down and put it on more thinly. So it's up to you how thick or thin you want the ground to be. So it basically will act like a cold press paper versus rough paper, for example. So the second layer, I did water it down. While I am waiting for that palette to dry, I put a new swatch sheet, got it already here, gridded out, and I just used the backside of this to basically, I'm going to mock it up. So this one will be my actual official one. This, I'm just going to mock up the colors in the order that I think they should be. So I have spent a ridiculous amount of time looking at these and the pigment and the swatches of the new colors that I bought to fill in these 4 slots, and I think I have it in the order that I may want them, but I'm going to try that out. However, since I don't have those colors yet, this one is going to be Nickel Azo Yellow. I will use my core one just to mock it up. This is my core watercolor palette, and the Azo Yellow looks pretty similar to what I'm seeing online, so we'll see about that. This one is the Cobalt Sea Blue, and I don't have anything here that will mimic PB28, so I think I will just mix the Cobalt Teal with the Ultramarine Blue and just like get close. It's not the right pigment mix, but whatever, it's okay. I think I will like it. It's just a mock-up, it's not serious. This slot will be for the Quinacridone Cherry Red, and I just realized I didn't find a good mix for that. I will do that and let you know what that ends up being. Can't believe I forgot that one. Anyway, this one will be the Transparent Brown, and I think maybe the red brown out of this tiny little set might match it enough that I can see if that's where I really want it or not. I don't know. We'll see. This here says it's quinacridone coral, and I'm trying to see what brand. Daniel Smith's quinacridone coral. And if that's the case, that is a PR209. So I will use that to mock up the Cherry Quin Red from Roman Szmal. Cool, I'm very excited. Thank you, viewer, who gave me this. This will be very helpful today too. So I'm kind of ridiculously excited for all of these Roman Szmal colors, and I love that feeling. So doing this little mock-up, putting colors in that may match the remaining 4 that I get when they show up, and they actually showed up while I was editing this video, so they're still down in my mailbox. At least that's what my text said. I didn't go down and get them, didn't have time to put them in the video anyway, but I'm very excited, so that'll probably be finishing this all up on Friday's video. Should be really fun. Anyway, this was fun to do this mock-up. There's just something super satisfying about seeing the color go down on the paper. All these different colors, and it's just really cool. Isn't that Cherry Quin Red from Daniel Smith beautiful? I would say the one thing that I don't like about swatching is just setting up all the squares, getting the measurements just right, getting the boxes just right. But the swatching itself, yeah, that's definitely satisfying. So do you guys enjoy swatching? What about the setup for getting all the squares and whatnot just right? All right, here they are. And I do want to caution you, these colors aren't showing up here exactly right because this is the back side of an Arches piece of paper. So the front side had my original swatches on it, remember? And look at that Potter's Pink on the correct side versus the back side. So it is different. Arches does not size the front and back of their paper the same. But let me show you these swatches versus the swatches that I did of them over here in the Edger sketchbook, because the Mineral Violet especially. Hang on. Alright, now just in case you didn't catch this in the earlier video, if you haven't watched that yet, I'll link it over there if I haven't already. But this is the Edger sketchbook, 100% cotton. So I don't know if you can see any difference there. Mostly it looks like the granulation's just coming out better on the right side of paper, basically. Some of them don't care. Some of them look great. But yeah, look at the granulation difference in the Aquarius black. That's kind of a big difference. What else? The Mineral Violet. No, the Misty Morning. It wasn't the Mineral Violet that I wanted to show you the difference on at all. It was the Misty Morning, so I totally misspoke earlier. Sorry about that. But I wish I could bin this because it's just a mock-up. Let me bin this so I can show it to you right next to the swatch. So you are getting the color separation on the back side of this Arches paper here, but you're not getting the color depth that I like to see. And I can see that here in the Edger sketchbook, but not there. And maybe I could have gone over that with another layer or something, but that's just something for you to keep in mind if you're trying to use the back side of a paper. Is the front and back sides the same? I use them both, especially when I'm just doing mock-ups like this, but if I'm doing a serious painting or something that I think might turn out really well, I definitely use the right side of the paper. This is pretty though. As far as keeping the colors in this order, I think so, except I think I'm going to switch these two. And that's it. I'll have to get used to this. I don't usually put my purples over here. I usually put them over here, but I wanted them by the pink because with this Mineral Violet, to get a purple that I really need sometimes, this is a beautiful color by the way, and it granulates really pretty when you have more water and stuff in there, but to get a different kind of purple, I need to mix these two often, and so I thought having them together would be nice. And then Misty Morning, not on this paper, but is definitely purple tinted, so I wanted the purples, so to speak, together. Conclusion, switching those two, that's it. Also, I wanted to tell you, in this particular palette, I'm not too happy with the 3M Velcro strips. I think I should have made them longer and then I would have been happier, but I don't know, they seem a little wiggly. Like in my core palette here, they're great. I mean, I just pulled this one out in order to access the Nicolazzo yellow I used for this experiment, but they work great in here. The strips are pretty long though, compared to that. Like look at the difference in the length between these two Velcro strips. Don't put your Velcro strips on there too small. It just makes them wiggle too much. Plus, this is still on metal, so I'm thinking I might glue magnets to the bottom of these instead. I haven't decided. I have magnets I can cut out and glue to there, but then I'm not sure what glue to use. I don't have sticky magnet stuff, so maybe I'll just keep this, and if some get too wiggly, I'll just pull them and replace them with the longer strips. Like this one's nice and long, so when I put it on there, it's like not a problem, but these shorter ones are not working out very well already, sadly. Okay. And then I move right into making my final swatch sheet. Of course, I will skip the colors here that are not actual Roman Szmal colors, and you probably notice I went ahead and switched the Cherry Quin Red and the Aquarius Red that came when set. So I did choose to switch one more color besides just the transparent brown and the Caput Mortuum that I originally told you about a few minutes ago. And if you hear a lot of purring, which I don't think it'll come through, but my cat is really trying to love up on me right now while I'm editing. All right, they are all dried. This is what they look like. And I'm almost regretting the choice not to get the lighter green, but this is good. This will be a challenge for me. This lighter green meaning the sap green I originally told you guys about. But I can mix these two with yellows, so I think it'll be fine. I'm just not used to palette so heavy on the blues and so light on the greens. But like I said, it'll be a good challenge for me. I want to show you this mineral violet. So this is actually a really separating color, but you can't see it in this small swatch. So I wanted to show you a bigger swatch for that. Even in the Edger sketchbook here, I did not have enough water to kind of show you how it separates, and I didn't put salt on this swatch. So I want to do that for you real quick. Let's get this mineral violet out here and give it a try. So I think if you wet the paper first, that helps you see some of the color separation better, because it does it better in a wet area. And I did my swatches on dry paper, so we're going to start with wet paper. And this is still the Arches 140 pound cotton block. Okay, lots of mineral violet. I have my salt ready. I've lost my little salt containers. Too much traveling. I'm going to have to open every single traveling container clear down to the bottom to try and find my missing salt. Okay, I'm going to let it kind of gradient down a little bit down here. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. And now put in salt. Now this is Himalayan salt, so it's different than your regular iodized table salt, but that's what I had handy. And you can do this at different wet and dry levels, and it looks different, or just doesn't work sometimes if you do it too dry. But anyway, just trying it. Okay, I tried to keep it to that half. A couple strays got over there, but no big deal. I will leave this on time lapse for you so you can watch it dry. I think that will be really fun. Can't wait to go back and watch that myself. Hopefully that's in focus. It looks like it is. Okay, I'll leave this here for you guys. But don't worry, I'm not leaving you. But anyway, look how quickly it changes. It's so cool. So the one on the right that says freshly painted, that is just a still shot of how it looked when I very first painted it. And over there that I just did on the left, I got kind of bored waiting for it to dry and decided to do the same thing with the Misty Morning paint and see what happened. And I don't have the freshly painted one up there for you to see, but the idea here was so you could see the differences in the mineral violet. But I will show you some more about the Misty Morning in a bit. It took about half an hour for each of these to dry with the salt and stuff completely. We are safe now to wipe the salt off of these, so let me move my full pans. I'm just pulling these over to my trash can. I'm not going to move the camera for that, but I'm just brushing them off like that in the trash can. And right now I'm just using my fingers. Sometimes I use a rag. Unless you get really aggressive with your paper, some of your salt particles will remain. This one still has a few. So that depends on how you want to deal with that. You can use your fingernails like I just did. You can leave it. You can see there's a bit of a smear here. So maybe it wasn't fully dry. Your salt particles will hold water more than the regular paper. And then this was just a play. This one you couldn't see. This was out of screen. So let me compare these two. I will first show you this one now dry compared to how it was first painted over here in this part of the screen. Quite a big difference. It's what I always tell my students when they're using salt is when you first put the salt on, it doesn't look like anything at all is going to happen, but you have to be patient. But look at the difference. And look at this here. In all of this granulation, the color separation, and how it pushed that purpley color out to the edges. And yet on this cheaper paper, let me show you what that paper is. Hang on, I gotta find it. It's not too far away, but it's over here. Hang on. This is the new bested paper that I tried for my coloring book. Here, let me zoom out. But it was just way too thin, 100 pounds. has the strange purple color. Hopefully you can see that on camera. I think you can kind of see the difference there. And I did not like it for my coloring book, so I returned 3 packages of it, but I had already opened that package and I wanted to keep it. And I thought this could actually be kind of interesting to play with, because the difference in these two on the Arches paper versus the cheap paper is pretty significant. And it could be fun to do some things on this cheap paper. I think we will try that in the future. Now, as far as the Misty Morning, here's Arches on the right side this time versus the cheap paper on the left. And you can really see that teal color coming through. Misty Morning is not cobalt teal, even though that's what it looks like here. I think it's a PB28, which might be the cobalt sea blue mixed with something else. I can't remember. I will show you on the screen because that was like 20 minutes ago and I don't remember. But you can see by adding salt here, you get a way different look. Plus, even without the salt, you get a really fun color separation, and it pushes that lighter pink color, it's like a pinky purple, out to the edges. And you don't get that with this one, except on the Arches paper. So the more high quality paper, you get that push of purple out to the edge, but not on this one, which is interesting. However, on the Misty Morning, you get a significant push of the purple pink out to the edge, and you do get a little bit of that with the cheap paper, just not quite as much. So I don't know, I find these kind of experiments pretty interesting. What this did show me with the salt, and the reason I thought of doing that was because of watching all of Kim Crick's videos, is because it shows a drastic change in your paint when you add salt. So from now on, when I do these kind of swatches in a big sketchbook like this, I will do the half salt like Kim Crick does, because I think it adds something very unique to your swatches. Plus, you'll know when you're painting, if you're going to use salt, what that will do. Like, for example, look at the mineral violet I swatched in the Edger sketchbook here compared to the one on the Arches paper with salt. There's a huge difference. You may never know that this color will granulate and spread and salt effect out to this unless you actually have put salt on it in your swatch. So pretty darn interesting. Same with Misty Morning. Like, how can I get these closer? Yes, I can. So Misty Morning here looks fairly boring until right here where I added extra water, and this is the swatches where I put water only halfway up and then touched it. So that's where you can see that teal coming through, but still it's almost barely because it is in the lighter gradient. However, I did that here and you can really see that teal color coming through. It's beautiful. I would never know that from this swatch. So you have to do these experiments now, in my opinion. I am learning, and this is just now one more thing I have learned I really need to do is add the salt. And also swatching in water, I think, might be a thing. Next up, in the video where I first showcased these Roman Szmal new 12 colors, I will link that in the corner if I haven't already, Kim Crick mentioned, and I'll link her channel below, that she is curious about mixing the buff titanium with the Aquarius brown, and I think she has both these colors, but she would do a beach scene. And so I thought, with this third little area we have here, let's mix those, the buff titanium and the Aquarius brown, and see what we come up with. So I did the little drying experiment, showing it on the screen with this one too. I think that was kind of fun. So the one that says freshly painted is the still shot, and the one drying, obviously, is the time lapse. And I'm sorry if you guys keep hearing background noise. I am trying so hard to finish up this video. Got up super early, and of course a lot of people decided to get up at the same time. I don't know why, they haven't before. Here is buff titanium on its own without the Aquarius brown mixed in. All right, so on its own, and here's the Aquarius brown on its own. I know it's kind of, here, we'll put it on this side. So mixing the two together does make this beautiful sandy texture. And I could make that even lighter by adding more buff titanium, but I think that she's right. Kim Crick is right. That is a beautiful beachy sand color. That granulation the Aquarius brown adds to the buff titanium is spectacular. Let's stop procrastinating and take a look at our palette that we put the watercolor ground on. So it's rough, but it's okay. I'm curious because I left this on. Kind of did not cover most of that red. Anyway, I thought about doing some kind of beach scene on this. I don't know. I kind of just want to keep doing mixes. Not a real painting, but that is my hang up. So I am nervous to paint on this. I've never painted on watercolor ground, at least not that I remember. And I don't know what to paint. I thought about just doing a really pretty like rainbow of all of these colors, which I thought would actually be really cool. It'd be stress-free and it wouldn't like limit me into a particular painting on my palette, because when I did that on my sketchbook, hang on, I'll show that to you. Here, I don't like it now. It's too bright. It's too deep in color. And so I thought just doing a gradient of the colors and not making an actual painting just might show a better representation of what's inside of this. So maybe I will do that and keep it kind of stress-free like I've talked about. And actually, looking back on this video, when that swatch sheet was sitting on top of the palette, I actually think it would look even cooler to do like an oversized swatch sheet on the palette lid like this instead of this gradient thing that I did. But that's okay. I mean, I guess I could probably sand this off and redo it. I don't know. I did seal it with the thing I'll show you later in the video, but pretty sure some sandpaper and I could redo this if I wanted to. And I'm not fully happy with it. My lines kind of went, I don't know, they went a little bit off kilter, I guess. So they're not all going quite the same direction. They're not like fully parallel. They kind of curve. Regardless, now I have used watercolor ground because I actually have some side tables in my living room I was thinking of putting watercolor ground on. So this was a good first experiment to see if it can be done. So now I could go do my side tables in my living room if I choose to. Scary. But I did like how the watercolor reacted and behaved, I guess I should say, on the watercolor ground. I was very pleasantly surprised, and it reminded me a little bit of those aqua boards, which is basically just watercolor ground put on a hard board, so I guess that makes sense. I thought this was dry, but now that I feel it, it's still very cold to the touch, so probably messing this up, but I want to take this ocean blue and just do some words. So it is spreading a little, so it's not fully dry underneath, but I think it's good enough. I don't mind it bleeding a little bit. All right, that bled way more than I thought, and then it didn't bleed at all over here, so it kind of is mismatched, but if I just dab some water on it, maybe it'll be the same. Probably not. Okay, well, that was me being impatient. If it still feels cool to the touch, don't touch it. However, I don't mind that it is a little bit blurred. I think I will put my initials. Why not? It's like a painting. It needs to be signed. Cool. Are we done? Not really. I want to take this, flip it over, and do a massive color mixing chart. So I'm probably biting off more than I can chew in this one video, but I really want to do it. So let me take this off the block and see if I can. Oh my goodness, here is the massive mixing chart I made on the back side of the swatch sheet, and because I made it as big as it would fit inside of the palette, I was able to keep some of my funny mixes up there, which is going to be weird for me to have on my swatch sheet in my palette, but that's okay. This is going to be insane. So I'm going to play with this, hopefully not mess it up, but I think it's going to be really fun. And I won't be able to finish it completely until I get the remaining 4 colors, but let's fill in what we have. This is going to be so much fun to have on the back of my swatch sheet. It's going to be all laminated and pretty, but I'm so bummed because you know I have those 4 colors down in the mailbox and I could finish this, except today is the day that I basically work from 7 in the morning till 8 o'clock at night teaching painting and computer classes at the college. So I'll have these beautiful paints and I'm not even going to be able to touch them today. That is going to be torture. I just have to tell you, absolute torture. All I will be thinking of today are my 4 paints that I can finish this all up in. Oh well. Okay, I think we have the main colors in the diagonal where they're supposed to be without mistakes. I almost made a mistake here. I almost forgot kaput mortuum. That was almost a bad thing. But I can tell this is going to take a few decades to finish. Okay, yes, I'm exaggerating, but still. So I think we will put that off for another video. Let's take a look at the palette. You can see how it spread out on the words there. I think that's still okay. Maybe I could take a little brush again. I don't know that I like this little brush that well, but it's okay. It's okay. I don't want it to be too defined, but it's kind of cool that it's spread a little, but it needs to be legible. We'll let that dry out. Should be good. And then let me show you the spray to cover that up and make it stay put. Hang on. This Szmal varnish is what I will be using. So I'll take this outside onto the porch. I think it's a warm enough day. It's winter here and it's supposed to be like over 52 degrees, but it is not quite. However, I'm going to spray it anyway and we'll have a nice palette. So I think I'm going to leave the tape on. Well, here it is, all sprayed with the Szmal varnish, 2 coats. I waited a little bit and then sprayed it again. It was 53.6 degrees Fahrenheit out there. There was wind, so it actually made it slightly cooler than that, but we're gonna go with that was good enough. It's better than the red. I'm not like fully pleased or happy with it, but better than the red. When the remaining 4 colors come in, we will fill in these little squares and the mixing chart, complete the mixing chart, which will be quite the job, I have decided. That's okay. I think it'll be fun at the same time. Laminate this, it will fit inside fully laminated. It will be great. Have I yet painted a full painting with all of these Roman Szmal colors? No. I have done the original 5, however, so I will link that in the corner for you because those paintings were pretty darn fun. Once we get all of the 21 colors, I will do a painting for you, and I'll showcase that on this channel for you. So make sure you're subscribed down below if you don't want to miss a thing. Better than the red? Yeah, I think so. Definitely customized. It's not in the center, and that's going to bug me the rest of my life, but okay. Sweet. Thank you so much for joining me today. We have a swatch sheet, the beginning of a very large mixing chart, a custom painted palette. I do have the extra mixing space here that we did not use today, but I will definitely need to use it when we do this. And we are waiting on the remaining 4 colors. They are on their way. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I will see you guys in the next video. Who knows what we'll be doing, if we'll be continuing this or working with gouache again, or what? I have yet to know myself. See you guys soon. Bye for now. This one here is can't say that word. So this one here is the little set. Oh, hang on, let me turn lights on. The sketchbook over here. I don't know what I was saying. What else am I supposed to do in this video? Oh yeah, paint the palette. Sorry, it's still over there soaking wet. That stuff does not dry fast, so it's a good thing I started a day early than I needed this video. So yeah, it needs an overnight drying time. Dang it. So that's why I'm doing the swatching. But so don't put your, ignore that. Metal. Where the heck even are our swatches? Oh, here they are. Nope. Where are they? Where are the swatches? Like, seriously, where are they? All right, I think that's hair that now is there permanently. Great, lovely. I just dumped that upside down, lost my Aquarius brown because I caught it with that one.